All right, so problem 810 in your homework addresses factoring. And A and B aren't too bad, and then you get to C, and C really bumps up that difficulty level. There are a few things that make this harder. We have a radical in our expression, and then we also have fractional exponents. So first we need some consistency there. Let's start by just rewriting that radical in terms of a rational exponent. Now I'm going to encourage you as we go through this to pause and to always try to do the steps yourself. I'll tell you ahead of time what you need to do. You need to try to do it and then come back, continue the video, and see if you're getting it correct. You know, having a difficult problem doesn't mean you are not responsible for being able to do it. I know at least those of you moving on to calculus, you are going to be expected to be able to factor with respect to radicals and rational exponents, so it's not something to run away from. We just need to take a little more time and develop those skills. So, step one, I want you to rewrite the expression, changing that radical to a rational exponent. All right, it should look like this. So now we're ready to start looking for common factors. We want to focus on the front half and see what the front half has in common with the back half. So take a look at those and just look for any factors that you see they both contain. All right, so I noticed that in both the first and the second half of this expression, I see a 4. And I also see the factor x squared plus y squared. So I've pulled those common factors out to the front. And now I'm ready to divide that out and put whatever's left inside those brackets. Now, I forgot to mention, I haven't identified what power of x squared plus y squared I'm going to factor out yet. So we're going to use a problem-solving strategy, creating a simpler problem, to help us think through what power of x squared plus y squared should I be factoring out. All right, so I've created kind of a similar problem, but I'm calling it simpler because my exponents just have integers and they're not fractions. So think about what you would do in this situation. Well, both the front half and the back half really have the same factors. The only thing that's different is the back half has a higher exponent. So I'm going to factor out both the 4 and the x squared plus y squared. So when I do that, what power of x squared plus y squared can I actually factor out? Well, you should pretty easily be able to say, well, I'm going to go with the third power because that's the smallest. You're always going to factor out the smallest power they both have in common. So that would make that 4x squared plus y squared to the third as my GCF. And whatever's left is going to go in those brackets. Now, you could use parentheses here. I just tend to use brackets, but it doesn't matter. So I factored that out, and in brackets I have 1 minus x squared plus y squared. So what power would be left? Well, in the original it was to the 5th. I factored out a third power of that factor, so that's going to go down to a squared. So what can we take from this? Well, 1, we know that we factor out the lower exponent. And then 2, how do I figure out what exponent remains on that inside, what exponent remains inside here? Well, it started out as a 5th. I factored out a third. How did I get 2? I subtracted. So when you're dividing with power expressions, remember you're going to subtract the exponents. All right, so let's go back to our problem. We're factoring out 4 times x squared plus y squared. So what power should I be using there? Well, which of these two exponents is smaller, 1/2 or 3/2? 1/2 is smaller, so that's the power that I'm going to factor out. Now I'm going to divide both halves by that GCF, and whatever's left is going to go into the brackets. So I've got you started here. I'm still missing. I haven't filled in that exponent up there. I want you to think about that. So it started out as 3/2. As the exponent, I divided out x squared plus y squared to the 1/2. Remember, what do we do with exponents when we're dividing something out? We subtract them. So 3/2 minus 1/2 is 2/2, which is just 1. So that's just going to be the first power. From here, we just need to look and say, can we clean this up any? Do I see any like terms that could be combined inside these brackets? And we do. So let's just simplify the expression in the brackets and we'll be done. It looks like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and just multiply the 4, the negative y squared together, put those out front. And here is my final factored expression. So that expression is equivalent to the top. You can test this out by putting both in Desmos, just checking them out numerically, comparing tables, or just by looking at the graphs.